I'm Mike, and today, yes, I am outside. Oh, won't you check it out, a four-leaf clover. And I want to talk about veganism versus culture. I often hear people say that telling people to go vegan is somewhat of an attack on culture, or people just generally use culture as an excuse to keep killing and mistreating animals. So I want to look at some logical inconsistencies on that topic. And to start with, people are kind of like, oh, if everybody goes vegan, then grandma's no longer gonna be able to cook her pot roast. What is she gonna do if she can't stick an animal carcass in a pot? Probably start gambling, and that would be your fault, vegans. Now, it is worth mentioning, I do think there are a lot of great things about a lot of different cultures. I mean, dumplings, but that doesn't mean that we should just blanketly support all culture. Because it seems that when people are arguing against veganism on this topic, they are just arguing for the sake of culture because it's culture. Like, culture is automatically good. So let's look at some horrible examples of culture that I think most people would agree are horrible. Some of them are a little bit sensitive, so earmuffs for like 10 seconds if you are sensitive. There's women as property, and then child marriage, which plays into that. There's female genital mutilation, or the tribes in Papua New Guinea that ritualistically sexually assault underage prepubescent boys, or that cannibalistic tribe in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea, we gotta have a talk. So you get the point, and earmuffs off in case you still had them on. But I don't think that anybody who argues that veganism destroys culture wants to support, defend, or preserve those cultural practices listed above, which are horrible. So no, not all culture is good. Not all culture is beyond reproach, which means that we need to pick and choose which aspects of which cultures we want to support. And some people, in terms of animals, are already on the right track in not supporting certain cultural displays. We have the Yulin Dog Festival, where about 10,000 dogs are caged, starved, and then killed for food, which apparently hasn't been canceled, despite the rumors that it has been canceled. But somehow, since that doesn't intersect with Western animal exploitation, that it's somehow okay to just erase that cultural event. So if you're really afraid that ending animal exploitation is going to hurt culture, then you should be pro-Yulin Dog Festival, and I know basically nobody in the US is. But it's not just the animal, it's also the method. Another example would be foie gras, where we are essentially force-feeding geese so that we can eat their fatty livers. This instance of cultural animal exploitation is widely not considered to be okay, at least in the US, but stopping the torture and consumption of virtually all other birds in all other situations is completely out of the question because of culture. And the inconsistency here is that people are saying they don't support foie gras because of the amount of pain and suffering involved in that force feeding, but think about the amount of pain and suffering involved when a dairy calf is separated from their mother, and that occurs within the first 24 hours of birth on virtually every farm, and no matter how humane you think a dairy operation is, that separation still occurs. It is part of the culture of dairy. And on the complete flip side, it's not just vegans. There are other cultures around the world that disapprove of the Western society's animal exploitation, such as the case of India and cows being sacred, or kosher in the Jewish tradition, where they certainly don't approve of the consumption of animals like pigs because they're considered unclean. So I just wanted to point out, for pretty much every area of animal exploitation that vegans are against, there's probably some culture out there that is also against it. So you gotta defend that culture too. And I think this whole perspective is looking at culture in a very fragile light. If you were to stop doing the Yulin Dog Festival, China would still be China. And the fact of the matter is, saying that veganism destroys culture is really the same thing as going up to any vegan of any culture, going up to an Ethiopian vegan that has an Ethiopian restaurant, saying, you're not Ethiopian, or going up to an Indian and saying, since you're vegan, you are no longer Indian, you're no longer part of that culture. It's just a bit of a reductionist view of culture, which makes me have to ask the question, when people are using this argument against veganism, are they really concerned about culture? Or are they really just trying a new brand of pitting vegans against people, making vegans into the villain? Because once you've convinced yourself that veganism can harm all of these innocent people of the world from different cultures, then you can just ignore the vegan message and keep exploiting and paying people to kill animals and feel great about yourself. And this seems even more ridiculous when you realize that you can still eat the same food, cook it in the same spices and the same method of cooking, and just not add a dead animal to it. 3 quick examples of people that have done this on YouTube. You've got the Vegan Corner, professional Italian cooks making delicious Italian vegan food. Other people like Lose Your Veganity making amazing Indian dishes vegan, or Mommy Tang, who has veganized some of her traditional dishes as well. In the end, I think the most important point here is that culture is not a moral baseline. If you think something within a culture, a certain aspect of a culture is horrible, then don't support it. And furthermore, that culture evolves. In the US, we have grown out of many horrible, barbaric practices such as slavery and keeping women out of the political process. There's no shame in letting culture grow. Bad things are bad things, and we should move on from them whether they are part of culture or not. And the way we treat animals is absolutely bad, and we should absolutely leave it by the wayside. So no, in the end, veganism doesn't destroy culture. Culture is so much more than a dead animal on a plate, and if you think that that is all that culture is, then you're probably just using that as an argument to ignore vegans and keep eating meat. All right, that's it for today. Let me know down below if there were any awesome cultural cooks out there on YouTube that I did not mention. Feel free to like and subscribe. Support me on Patreon if you are so able. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.